Hey YouTube, I'm Kishan and in this video we are going to create this amazing Candy Crush clone using React, Redux Toolkit, Tailwind CSS and TypeScript. This video has been sponsored by ZegoCloud. So now let's talk about ZegoCloud. ZegoCloud is the world's leading real-time audio and video cloud service provider founded in 2015. ZegoCloud enables enterprises and developers to easily and quickly obtain real-time audio and video communication capabilities by integrating a single SDK and enjoy smooth, reliable audio and video experiences with high quality even in weak network conditions. Isn't that cool? ZegoCloud provides various products from which you can truly achieve real-time engagement into your apps. Now let's talk about the video call feature provided by ZegoCloud. The Express Video SDK helps developers quickly build reliable and scalable video calling and interactive live video streaming into mobile, desktop, and web applications for a wide range of use cases such as one-on-one and group video calls, online education, entertainment, live video streaming, and others. You can create enhanced user engagement with customized video calling experiences such as recording, call quality monitoring, direct and group call, co-hosting, live video streaming, screen sharing, face beautification, and super resolution. ZegoCloud Video Call supports up to 4K quality live video with ultra low latency of 300 milliseconds. You can add up to 50 participants in a video. With just 4 simple steps, your application can access ZegoCloud's cloud streaming platform to deliver high quality, ultra low latency, interactive live video to your end users across all platforms with the support for massive concurrency, providing the users a perfect live video experience. So now let me give you a demo of it. So these are all the candies, and when you move it here, it gets popped and the new candies are filled automatically. The candy arrangements are random. Let me refresh the page. Okay, so it automatically popped some candies because there was a match. Now this Candy Crush board is customizable. We can increase and decrease the size of the board and everything will work as expected. Let me decrease the size. So this is the board of 4 and it is working perfectly. Now let's increase the size to 6. So this is also working perfectly. Now we can go up to 12 and let me zoom out. And this also works perfectly. So yeah, without wasting any further time, let's get started and create this cool Candy Crush clone. Okay, so now let's set up our React app. I have opened a VS Code and a new terminal in it. So first let's install the React app. For that I will write npx create react-app at latest and the name of our React app, which is Candy Crush clone, Candy Crush clone, and will provide a template of TypeScript. Let's wait for this to install. This may take time depending upon your network conditions. Okay, so our React app has been completely set up. Now let's move on to that directory Candy Crush clone, and we are gonna install some dependencies. So first we'll add yarn add at Redux.js -toolkit. So we are installing the Redux toolkit for state management. Wait for this to be installed. Okay, so that's been installed. Now we are gonna run this command npm install -d tailwind css post css and auto prefixer. This will install the tailwind css package into your React app. This command can be found in the tailwind css official documentation. I will paste the link of it in the description. Then we will use this command npx tailwind css init-p, hit enter. Okay, that's done. Now we will have this config file of Tailwind CSS, and inside of that we'll replace this content array with this source slash star star slash star and the extensions of the React apps file that we are going to use. Also, this also has been copied from the Tailwind CSS guide, so you can find that in the Tailwind CSS documentation. Okay, let's save this and let's start our React app by yarn start. Let's see if everything is working perfectly. Okay, yeah, everything is working perfectly. Now let's remove all of this clutter code. So for that, let's head over to the source directory and we are gonna delete app.css, app.test.tsx. Then we also don't need this svg file. We need this file. We don't need these two files. Delete. And inside the index.tsx, we are gonna remove this import. Also, we are gonna remove this import. Inside the index.css, we are gonna remove all of this code, and inside the app.tsx, we are gonna remove all of this code and we'll write rfc to create the component. And we also have a last step to do. So inside the index.css, we have to paste this tailwind directives, so everything is imported and should work as expected. And now we are gonna rerun the app by yarn start. Let's open the React app. And yeah, everything is working perfectly. So our base setup is done. Now let's do one thing. Let's set up our Redux store. Okay, so now inside the source directory, I will create a new folder which would be store. Inside of this, we will have our Redux store. We'll create a new file index.ts, and inside this index.ts, first we'll create an initial state variable, initial state, and first we are going to give it a type. So this would have a board of string array. Then this would have an board size. This would be a number. And now let's give it a value. So the board's initial value would be an empty array, and the board size would be of 8. That's it. What's the error? Cannot be compiled. Okay, we should ignore this error. And now we are going to create a new slice. So we'll write const candy crush slice equals to create slice, and the function create slice should be auto imported from the Reactjs toolkit. If it hasn't, you can import it from that. So inside the create slice, we are going to pass an object, and inside this object, first we'll pass the name of the slice, which is Candy Crush. Then will pass the initial state and then our reducers. Okay, so let's not write anything here for the reducers, and after this we'll write export const store. So this should be our store, and this would have the configure store function from the Redux.js toolkit, and inside of this we'll pass the object and we'll pass the reducer Candy Crush slash, not this, we'll just write Candy Crush and then Candy Crush slice dot reducer. That's it, and we'll export a root state, export type root state equals to return type, and this should be angular brackets type of store dot get state. That's it, and we'll also export another type app dispatch equals to type of store dot dispatch. That's it. Now should we export the reducers? No, we don't have any reducers. Okay, that's it. Now let's create a new file inside the store, which is hooks.ts. So basically we are gonna create two hooks inside of this. So for that, first we'll write export const use app dispatch. So what this hook will do is it will grab the app dispatch and have the use dispatch from it, use dispatch. Okay, so for that we have to import everything, app dispatch from index. Okay, what error do we have here? App dispatch app. Okay, this should be here as a type. Okay, and this should be imported from React Redux. So import. Okay, there's a spelling mistake. Dispatch. Let's import it manually. Import use dispatch from React Redux. Okay, we made a mistake. We still have to install the React Redux package and it hasn't been installed. So let's install it. Yarn add React Redux. This package would connect Reactjs toolkit to the React app. Okay, so that's been installed. Now let's write yarn start to start the application. Let's reload this, and we would still get this error, cannot find module. We did install the React Redux package. Let's check it inside the package.json. React Redux, it is here, and let's save it. Now there are no issues. Let's okay, this is not finding the type declarations for that, so I think we have to install the type package. I'm not sure, let me check. I don't think it is necessary. Let's leave this for now, and after that we'll have export const use app, not use app dispatch. We'll have use app selector for getting the state, use app selector, and this would be typed use selector hook, and this would have the root state. Root state equals to use selector. Let's grab the use selector from here. Selector, and then let's also grab this type use selector hook, import type use selector. Let's copy this, paste it, and from React Redux hyphen es slash types. That's it. Okay, so root state should also be imported from app dispatch. Root state, that's it. Okay, the most of things are done here. Let's close this and head over to index.tsx, and we are gonna have a provider element here, not prover. This should be provider, and inside the provider we'll pass our store. Make sure it is auto imported, and let's import the provider as well. Provider from React Redux. That's it. I think I should restart the VS Code, so the changes might take place for the React Redux package. So I'll restart my the VS Code. Let me give a minute. Okay, so I've restarted the VS Code and the errors are fixed, but we have another error, which is module not found, can't resolve, configure store in source store. So this is inside of this, it is not able to find the configure store. Why is that? can't resolve Reactjs toolkit configure store. It was auto imported. If I think, let's check if everything is correct. Yeah, I think this configure store should be imported from the Redux Toolkit package. And yeah, everything is working and our store setup is done. Now let's create the board for Candy Crush so we don't have any errors. Now let's create the board here. For that we first need the assets, so I'm gonna grab the assets in here. So you can copy those assets from the GitHub link given in the description in the video. I'll paste that inside this source directory. The assets, this have all the candies here and the background image. That's it. Now let's head over to index.css and we have to provide the background image. So in here background image should be URL assets and background.png, and let's give it a background size of cover. Save it and let's check. Yeah, we have our image here. Now let's create the board. So now let's create a board. For that first we'll need to create a function called as create board, which will create an array for the candies. So for that what we will do is we'll head over to app.tsx and we did right here the initial board size, which is 8. So let's grab that inside the app.tsx. So for that what we'll do is we'll write const board is equals to use app selector, which is our custom hook, and we'll grab the candy crush, and inside of that we'll need the board. Now let's pass the board here. So this is our board and we are going to copy this, and this is our board size. Hit enter. So we are grabbing the board and the board size, and now let's grab the dispatch method as well. I'll explain this in a minute. Dispatch is equals to use app dispatch. Now we'll have the use effect here and we'll dispatch an update board event, which would have the create board and the board size. So here first we grab the dispatch method. So what dispatch method is, if we want to initialize any reducer inside the our React Redux store, then we need to dispatch it from the dispatch method. Then we grab the state, the board and the board size from the use app selector. So we'll create a new board using the board size, and this would return our new board, and we will update that board inside our Redux store. So we passed that inside the dispatch method. So first let's create this update board method. So this can be created inside this index.ts. So here we'll have the update board reducer, update board, and inside of this we'll have a state argument and action. The action type would be payload action, of type error of string. This should be auto imported. Yeah, it has been imported. And now what we'll do is we'll have state.board equals to action.payload. So we are updating the board's value of the data that we send, that would be inside the action.payload. So one step complete. Okay, we also need to export this. So for that, export, we'll destructure this, and what should be done next? This should be export const equals to Candy Crush slice dot actions, and inside of this we need the update board. That's it. Now let's import this here, update board. Okay, so what is this error inside the dispatch? Dispatch is of type unknown. Okay, type unknown. So we have to create this create board. So inside the source directory, I'm going to create a new directory, utils. This is for utility functions, and I will create a new file which is create board.ts, and inside this create board.ts, what we are gonna do is we are gonna write export const create board equals to board size. This is gonna have a parameter board size which would be a number. If this is not passed, then we'll take the default value of 8 and we'll create a new array of board size square. So if we have given number 8, then the elements inside the array would be 64, because we are creating a 8 by 8 board. And then we'll fill this with null, and then what we'll do is we'll map this and we'll have the candies inside it. So for that we'll have to create a new file which is candydata.ts, and inside of this what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy the code and paste it. We are gonna import all of the candy images, candy 1, candy 2, candy 3 until candy 7, and export all of these inside an array which is candies, candy 1, candy 2, candy 3 to candy 7. Let's see this and import that and use it here. So for that what we are gonna do is we'll have the candies array, make sure it is auto imported, candies array, and we'll pass math.floor. We are gonna get a random candy from the array math.random. This should be capital math.random, and this would be multiplied by candies dot length. Save it, and yeah, we'll have our board now. So let's head over to app.tsx, and I think we should not dispatch it. I'll just do one thing. We'll create the board, create board using the board size, and I'll console that board here, and we just want to run it once. Const console.log. Okay, that's it. Now let's head over to here. Okay, so the use app selector. Okay, this is not the use app selector. We have to pass the use app dispatch here. use app dispatch, this method. Okay, there shouldn't be any errors. Yeah, let's refresh this, open the console, and we have our array here. You can see that, and it has all the Candy Crush images, and this is the random array. So yeah, that's it. Now let's store this inside our Redux store. So for that we are gonna remove this line, and in here save it, and let's install the missing dependencies array. You can also use the VS Code quick fix, update the dependencies array to be this, and yeah, that's it. Okay, that's it. Now what we are gonna do is we'll create the board component now. So for that, let's create a new directory, components, and inside of that we are going to create two components. First is board.tsx and other would be tile.tsx. Write RFCE inside the board as well, RFCE, and we gonna copy this board here inside this board. Make sure to import the use app selector, and now let's use this inside the app.tsx. So inside this we'll remove this app and we'll write the board here. Let's also give it a class. These are Tailwind classes, so we'll give it a flex, then we'll give it an item center, justify center, and height of this board would be off screen. Now let's check. Yeah, our CSS classes has been applied. Now what we are gonna do is inside the board.tsx here we'll map the board array. We'll grab the candy inside it. There should be string, and the second parameter would be the index, and we'll return a tile element. We'll give it a candy data, a key. There should be the index and the candy ID. This is the index as well. That's it. Okay, so we have this TypeScript error. Let's fix this. So inside of the here we'll have the candy and candy ID, and let's give it a type as well. Candy would be string and the candy ID would be an, what should it be? This would be a number. Save it. Let's head over to here. Errors are fixed. What is this? Expected. What is expected? Okay, that's it. Let's check here. Yes, we have our tiles here. Now we'll give it a class names and some style. So what we'll do is we'll give it a class name. This should be flex wrap. Then we'll give it a rounded of large, and we'll also give it a style of width, and for this we are going to need the board size. board size, grab this and change this also, and we are gonna multiply this 6.25 into the board size, and this should be rem. I'll explain this CSS style in a minute. Okay, we have our tiles here. Let me style the tiles, then I will explain everything. Okay, so inside the tile now, we have to do many things. So first, what we'll do is, first we'll check if there is a candy, then we will pass our image tag. This should be end image, source would be candy, and alt text would be candy as well. We'll give it a class name of h of 20 and a width of 20. That's it. And we'll also provide it a candy, not dandy, candy ID of candy ID. Save it. Let's check here. Yeah, we have our candies here. Now let's style this. So in here, we'll give it a class name, h of 24, width of 24. We'll give it a flex, justify center, item center, m 0.5, rounded large, select none. That's it. Okay, so this is perfect. Now we have to give it a box shadow like thing. Let's do that. For that, I'm using my custom style, and I'll provide the box shadow. This should be inset 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 15 pixels, and the color would be 0, 6, 25, 25. Then we'll give it an inset minus 5 pixels, minus 5 pixel, 15 pixel, and hashtag AA B7 BB. That's it. And we have this cool box shadow effect. Okay, so our board is ready. Now let me explain the things. Here we map the board array and we passed all the candy images and the index here. Then what this is, so we have given this the board size, the width would be of board size. So this is this Candy Crush clone is yeah, this is configurable. So if we change the board size to 10, then automatically all of the elements would be increased. If you want to see that, we can do that inside the store here. Okay, inside the store, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace this with 4 and everything would be changed. So this flexbox width also changes, the tiles would also change, and the number of candies also change. We can also increase to this to 10, and you can see that we have more candies here and everything is perfect. So we have 10 rows and 10 columns here. So let's have our initial value of 8. This is perfect. So we have 8 candies here in this column and in this row. So in total there are 64 candies. Now what we are going to do is, our board is created. Now we are going to check if it is a column of 4. So if there are 4 candies that are matched here, and if it is if there are 4 candies that are being matched, then we are gonna pop those candies. So let's do that functionality. Now we are gonna check for column of 4. If those 4 candies match, then we want to pop that for. So we are gonna create that functionality. So I'm gonna create a new file here as formulas.ts and another file which is move check logic.ts. This is not a folder, it's a file. So new file, move check logic.ts, and inside of formulas we are gonna create a formula. I'm gonna explain this formula in a minute. And inside the move check logic we are gonna create a function, and I'm gonna explain this everything. Give me a minute. So now this is our board, and if we want to check for the column of 4, then we are gonna check it until here. This is the 39th element, and after here there would be only 3 elements. So if we are checking it for here, then we don't have the 4th element, so this would be invalid. So these last 3 rows would be skipped. So we are going to loop through 0 to 39, and we are going to check that from if the index is 0, and if we are here and these 4 elements match, then we want to pop these 4 elements. And if we are at here, then we want to match these 4 elements. If we are at here, then we want to match these elements, and if we are at here, then we want to match these 4 elements. But after this, if we are at this 40th index, then we don't want to match, then we just don't want to loop anything, we just want to loop until here. So for that we have written the formula here, formula for column of 4. So this would return 39 if the board size is 8. Let me explain. First we have 8 into board size, which gives us 64. Then we have board size plus board size plus board size, which would be 24, and then we have minus 1 equals to 39. So what this 64, so what this means is 64 are the total number of elements inside this board, 64. Then we want to skip three rows. So these 3 rows, we want to skip these 3 rows. So we are minusing that from that, and as we are using array, so it has 0 as its index, so we are also minusing 1. So this would give us 39. So we are gonna check until the 40th element and 39th index. So this is configurable. If the board size is given 10, then also this logic would work. So for that we have used this formula. We could also use here to loop until 39 only, but for the configuration purposes we have used this formula. Then we have this array column of 4. So yeah, the column of 4, and in here we are defining the indexes for which we want to check. So if the current index is at 0, we have the 0th element, this element, then we want to check for these. So I plus board size, I plus board size into 2, and I plus board size into 3. So we are storing all those indexes here. Now after this, what we are going to do is we'll create a new variable as decided color, and this would be of type string, and in here we'll pass the image of that index. So we have the new board. Inside this new board, our current board is stored, and in current board we'll get the ith element, which would be the image, and we'll compare it. Now we'll also check if this is blank, if the image is blank. So we'll give it a boolean, in which cases the image would be blank. Is if it is already cleared, then it would be blank. So if we match any four candies, then what we are going to do is we are going to remove that image from that board and replace it with an empty string. So we are checking if it is already blank. So this would store true or false, and after this what we'll do is we'll have if condition, and inside this column of 4 dot every, we want to check for every elements inside the column of 4, and this is square, or we can name this as candy of number. Then we'll grab the new new board, and inside of that we have the candy index, and we are gonna see if it is the decided color and also if it is not blank. If these all conditions are true, then this would move forward inside the loop, inside the if condition, and we'll have column of 4 dot for each. We want the candy number, type number, and we are gonna replace the new board of candy to an empty string, and we are gonna return true because there is a match. Okay, we have some error here. Number parameter number has implicitly any type. Okay, I think this should be wrapped. Yeah, that's it. Everything works now. So this if condition would match every element of this, and check if it is the decided color, if the candies are the same, and if it is not blank, and if they are, then for every of this entry we want to replace it with the blank string. So yeah, our function is ready. Now we just have to use it inside our app.tsx. So let's head over to app.tsx, and here we are going to use another use effect hook, use effect, and we are going to create a set timeout. We'll grab the new board, we'll get the copy of our current board, and we'll pass this column of 4, we'll pass the new board, then we will also pass the board size, and we'll pass formula for column of 4 and the board size inside that board size. That's it. And after this we'll dispatch our method for update board to new board, and we want this timeout to run at every 150 milliseconds, and whenever this function this component is destroyed or unmounted, we want to clear the interval of our timeout, and the dependency array, and let's auto add those using quick fix. That's it. Now let's check here. Are there any 4 candies? No, I think there are not. Let's refresh. Yeah, there were here 4 candies and those 4 candies were replaced with blanks here. Let's refresh the page again. Okay, here there were 4 candies and it were replaced by blank. So yeah, our functionality is working. Now let's do the same for the column of 3. So for 3 here, so let's do that, and I think the logic for that would remain the same, but there would be only some minimal changes, and that would be, let's head over to formulas.ts and create another formula, which would be formula for column of 3, and the formula logic would be same, just will decrease the board size here. We just want 16 elements, so we want to remove these 2 rows because these 3 can be matched. After this there would be only 2 elements, so it cannot be matched, so we will stop the matching from here. So we'll stop the loop from here. So yeah, that's it. So inside the move check logic, let's copy this and I'm gonna paste it here, and I'll write this as column of 3, formula for column of 3. Copy this and gonna paste it here, and we are gonna just match it until the second index. Yeah, that's it. I think, yeah, we don't want this. We are gonna just match 3 indexes, and that's it. And now let's use this inside app.tsx. I'm gonna copy this, paste it, and this is column. I think we made a mistake here. Yeah, it's column of 3. Let's use that here. Import it, and this should be formula for column of, not 4, formula for column of 3. That's it. Let's check. Yeah, these popped out. Let's refresh. No, nothing is being matched. Let's refresh again. Yeah, these 3 candies matched and it popped out automatically. Okay, that's working. Now why we use the 4 above? Because first we want to match if there are 4 candies that are being matched, not 3. If consider this example, this candy is also the green and yellow one, and this candy also. If these 4 candies are being matched here and the 4 can be popped out instead of 3, so if we had written the column of 3 function is column of 3 function above, then it would pop these 3 candies first and this would remain. But as we have written the fourth is column of 4 above, then these 4 candies would be matched first, then these 3 candies, if this one is different, then this 3 would be matched. So that's the benefit for that. Okay, so that's done. Now let's match the column row of 4 and row of 3. So for that, the logic is somewhat complex. So let's head over here inside the VS Code, and we are first gonna have a function inside the formulas. This would be generate invalid moves. So what this will do is it will generate invalid moves for the row of 4 and row of 3. So what are the invalid moves? So we will be looping the array, and we if we are looping for is column of 4, then we want to stop the loop from here, all loops from here, because then only this would be the row of 4. Then there would be left the three elements and this element, then it would be compared. If we are at here, then there would be only 2 elements, so we want to stop our loop at every row at here. So for that we have written this function, and for 3 we want to is column of 3, we want to stop a loop at here, all of this from here. So for that, what it will do is this will return an array of invalid moves indexes. So it will loop from number, which is board size, and board size would be 8. So it would start from the board size, and it will go till the board size into board size, and it will increase everything by board size, which is 8. So it would be just the next row, and it will so the increment so the starting value is 8. So our I is at 8 here. So what we'll do is we'll grab this index and push it inside the array, and if it is a 4, then we'll also mark this and push it inside the array. So this would loop for all the rows and grab all of these indexes and push it inside the array and return the invalid moves array. So that's very easy. Now inside the move check logic, we'll create another function, export const check for row of 4 equals to new board, which would be string. Then we'll have the board size, which would be a number, and we'll grab the invalid moves for column of 4, or we can just write invalid moves here, which would be a number array. This is an arrow function. Now we are going to loop from 0 to 64. So for that, for let I equals 0, and this would be a number. Then I less than board size into board size, which is 64, and I plus plus const row of 4 equals to, and here this should be column of 3. Let's replace all the instances. Column of 3. This won't make any error, but the variable names should be perfect, because anyone else is reading your code anywhere, then it should be perfect. So we now for the row of 4 we want I plus 1, I plus 2, and sorry for that, I plus 1 plus 2, and I plus 3. Now the decided color would be same, is blank is same. You can copy this, paste, and what we'll do is we'll check if invalid moves dot includes the current index. Then we will continue this. We don't want to check for our logic, and now we are gonna copy this. This logic is gonna be the same. Replacing this column of 3 from row of 4 And yeah, that's it. This is complete. Now we can go to our app.tsx and use it here. Is row, what function did we write here? Check for row 4. Okay, check for row of 4. This should be also above this. We want to check every 4's first. New board and board size. You're gonna pass generate invalid moves, pass it the board size and true because it is a column of 4. Now let's check, refresh, refresh, refresh. Are there any column of 4s? No. Okay, we matched here and this is working, our logic is working. Now let's do the same for column of 3. So for that I'm gonna copy this and replace this with column of 3. This is row of 3, sorry, this is check for row of 3, and in here we are gonna remove this, and the row of 4 would be replaced by row of 3. That's it. Now inside of app.tsx we are gonna copy this, paste it, and this would be 3, and you don't want to pass true. Now let's check. Yeah, 4's are working, 3's are working. Yeah, everything is working now. Okay, so our candies are popping automatically. Yeah. Now what we are gonna do is, if the candies are popping, then we want to move all of these candies below and add new candies from top here. So let's do that functionality. So now let's write the logic for moving the candies below. For that, inside the store we'll create a new folder named as reducers, and inside the reducer we'll write a new file, move below.ts, and inside the move below.ts what are we gonna do is we'll have a move below reducer function. We'll grab the board and everything on the state. Okay, so yeah, so I have written this export const move below reducer. Then inside that we'll have a parameter of state, and the type of state would be writable draft, or else we can also do this as root state. Instead of this root state, this can be matched root state dot candy crush, root state dot get state. What did we did in the hooks? Root state store dot get state. Okay, we can do this also. Let's copy this and use this here. Okay, that won't work. We have to write the writable draft. Okay, so inside the writable draft we are just gonna use the items that we are going to use in the state. So just copy and paste this, and then we destructure the board from the state and the board size from the state. Then let's create a new variable as board changes as false. This would be of boolean, and if there are any changes in the board, then we are gonna make this as true. Now const formula for move. So for that we are gonna create a new formula for move below would be inside of formulas, a new formula. Let's paste this after this formula for move below, and this would give us the number, which would be 18 to 8, 64 minus 8 minus 1, which is 57, I think. Okay, let's head over to move below, and where were we? Yeah, move below, and formula for move below is formula for move. Then let's import this. After this we'll have an array, not array, we'll have a loop I equals to 0, I less than equals to formula for move I plus plus, and we'll grab the first row elements. First row equals to array dot array of board size dot fill of 0 dot map, and first we'll have the value which is not going to be used, so we'll denote that by an underscore value and index. This both would be number, and this would return the index. This is the first row, and now we are going to check if is first row goes to first row first dot includes, okay, this should be inside of here, dot includes I. Now I'm going to copy some logic and I will explain you in a minute. Okay, so we copied 3 if conditions. So if first row and new word of I not equals to a blank, then we want to add a new candy in place of that, and again after that let's import this candies array. Yeah, after that the current I plus board size, if the candy is here, and after, so below that candy, if it is a blank, then we want to replace it and have the board changes as true, and if there are board changes, then we want to return the new board. So that's that. And now inside the index.ts, inside of here we'll have the move below reducer, move below, okay, index.ts, move below, and this is going to be move below reducer. Let's import it, and what error did we have? Type state word is not assignable to type case reducer. Let's check here, did we make any mistake in there? Writable draft. Let's do one thing, let me replace the file and check if everything works after that. This is inside the reducers, move below reducer. Why do we have an error here? Let's ignore that error for now. Move below, and inside app.tsx, what we are gonna do is, after the update board, we are gonna dispatch move below, import it, expected 1 argument but got 0. An argument for payload was not provided. Okay, I think because of that we are getting the error inside the index here. Move below, we don't want to pass any payload, we just want to, okay, I know the error. Let's head over to the move below and remove these 2 lines for now, and the error would be gone now. Yeah, the candies are moving below. Let's refresh the page. The candies are filling the spaces and new candies are being added. Yeah, that's it. So that is done. Now let's do the functionality for dragging these images and replacing. So let's do that. So yeah, now for dragging the candy, let's head over to tile.tsx here, and inside the image we are gonna paste this code. So from here I pasted the code. First, the draggable is true, we are setting the draggable property to true. Then for all the drag methods we are implementing it here. We just need the drag start, drag drop and drag end. We want these 3 events, and for the other events we are just preventing the current behavior. And what we are doing is we are storing the target and for the start and drop. So let's do that. So inside the index.ts of our store here, we are gonna create 3 methods, which would be drag start, drag drop and drag end. For drag start we have the state and action, and state dot we are giving this new property of state square being dragged and square being replaced, and this would be undefined, and this can also store in the element. Now for the drag end we are going to create a new reducer, and as we are storing the entire element inside the state, we have to override the behavior of the redux inside here. When we are creating the store after the reducer, we will have the middleware and get the default middleware, and we'll call the default middleware and write serializable check as false to override the default behavior of not storing the elements. Now we are gonna create this reducer drag end. So for that I'm gonna create here drag end dot ts, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy the reducer here. I'll explain the reducer. Replace this s column of 3. Yeah, so first we have the drag and reducer, we grab the board, then the state, then square being dragged id and square being replaced id. So these are set inside the state here. Update drag start and drag drop, and this would be from here. Okay, we have to import export it from here. Let's do that. Drag drop, drag end, and drag start, save, and let's import that inside of here. Drag start, drag drop, drag end, and for the dispatch we can use the dispatch from app.tsx. Copy inside the tile, paste, import use app dispatch, and import drag end. That's it. Now inside the drag end here, I'm gonna explain you. Also inside the move below, we are gonna have this uncommented, and inside the index.ts we're gonna copy. Yeah, now let me explain this drag end. So we are destructuring everything here. Now we are parsing the candy id. So earlier we passed candy id as the index here. You can see where, yeah, here. So we are grabbing the number of index which is being dragged, which is replaced and being dragged currently. Then we are just replacing those elements here. We are just shuffling them. Then we have created a valid moves array. So the valid moves is a direction in left, left, right, up and down. So we have written the valid moves, and we are checking if it is a valid move. If it is dragged in any other direction, then it is not valid. Then we are checking if it is a column of 4, is a row of 4, is a column of 3, or is a row of 3. If it is that, then we'll get a boolean value. And then we have this if conditions. If there is a square being replaced id, and if it is a valid move, or if we only want to move if there is a candy popping. So this would return a true, and we'll set the square being dragged and replaced to undefined. Or if it is false, then we want to replace the logic that we wrote here. We want to cancel this out. So we are doing that here, and we are returning the state of the new board. So that's it. Now let's check in here. I will try to move this here. It will not move. If I will move it here, yeah, it is moving and popping, and new candies are appearing. So yeah, that's it. Our Candy Crush is completed. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and like this video.